Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back this evening. Starting a little bit early, a little bit early. Hopefully, everybody's having a wonderful evening. Again, Tuesday Fireside Chat number 6. Um, I really, really like this one. And before I even go into anything that we're going to talk about this evening, um, happy birthday to the Navy. Hoorah. All my Navy veterans, all the people that were in the Navy, past, present, and future. I greatly salute you. And again, it's a special day. Being a Navy submariner, it really hit home, and understanding how the Navy came about, what day it actually came into existence back in 1972 when they declared October the 13th the Navy's birthday. So happy birthday, Navy. All of my sailors out there, submariners, hoorah. So let's dive into it. And like I said, this is dedicated to all my road warriors that are out there. This is going to be a little chit chat. And again, light up the comment box if you are a road warrior, if you are a person that's out of town constantly, if you've been a road warrior before. Again, this is coming and stemming from a couple of chats that I had with a couple of people, and not gonna name no names, but again, it definitely is something to talk about. Man, Shane, good evening, Shane. How you doing, brother? So it's definitely something that needs to be talked about due to the fact that and I put on the description. Everybody's asking me, what does it mean? When the end is near, and I'm not talking about the end. I'm talking about the end of our job. If you're doing contract work, if you're that coming down in a construction site, you come down to the end of that road. What do you learn? What lessons do you learn to take with you to the next job, to the next gig? How did it pan out for you in that type of situation where you have, you're on a job for a year and you've been good, you've been rolling, 7 days a week, 10, 12-hour days. I hope within that year, sometimes you get to go see your family. But I know some road warriors that have, that are young. They don't have kids. They don't have wives at home, and they like being on the road. But what happens when that job comes to an end? What happens when, maybe we don't have something lined up? How does that come into effect? How does that play out? If your contract work, how are you going about? Obviously, you want to leave where you're at with a good, on the right foot, with a good rapport with everybody before you leave. But how do you start looking towards your next gig? Jesus, what's going on? How you doing, brother? And again, I say dedicated to the road warriors because, again, I'm on the road right now. I'm actually in San Angelo, Texas. It's hot. It was hot. It's starting to cool off. I have my sweater on. It's cold here in the hotel. But again, lots of hotel rooms, lots of, fast food. Sometimes you don't get to have those hotels where you are late night cooking. Sorry, it's a little, sometimes you don't get that home cooking. And granted, you can go out, you can go to, Outback Steakhouse, you can go to Buffalo Wild Wings and get a hot meal, but it's nothing like sitting at your own kitchen table, being able to enjoy it with your family. And again, we choose to be road warriors, for the simple fact that we like being on the road, we like providing for our families. But again, how do if you start to see that end in sight, 2 months out, what are you doing? What are the steps that you're taking to find the next gig, line up the next line of work? My man Jesus. On the road to San Antonio, Texas. Luis Antonio, working for 19 years on the road. That's a long time, brother. That is a long time. 19 years on the road, that is a very, very long time. Shane Oliver, oh, yes, Pedro, excellent point. A lot of people don't have anything lined up. That short timing disease plays a different role when we are worried about what the next dollar is going to be. And yes, it does. And again, you go, 2-week turnarounds, 3-week turnarounds. But what next? What happens after that? Are we sitting in limbo, and are we saving some of that money that we earned on these turnarounds in this job, so that way we can, in case we don't find anything right away, we're able to, save a little bit and have a little cushion. Do if you've been with a company that, keeps you out of town, are you that person that, you're going to have something lined up for you regardless? Sorry, looking at messages and notifications coming to the phone. But having something lined up, what is a good practice that and again, if you're doing contract work, you start looking at for your next contract, and maybe you might not find something for 2 or 3 weeks. Jesus, you have to be proactive and plan for the next job. Now, elaborate on that, Jesus. How do you plan for the next job? If I have to be focused here right now. And again, I'm talking about everybody, not just safety professionals. Anybody that's a road warrior, that's in the pipeline, that's in the chemical plants, that's in construction, going to the next big, data center. How do we focus on the now, but then also focus on getting the next gig, figuring out where that next dollar is going to come from? Jeremiah Johnson, when transitioning from the military and being deployed right before you get out, it's tough to even network. I agree. I agree. When transitioning from that, after being deployed, it's tough to go out there and network and figure out, where something could be lined up, what something could possibly be readily available for us to get, and dive into. And granted, there's a LinkedIn, for example. You can go on LinkedIn now and actually reach out to people and see, hey, I'm open for work. Is anybody hiring? And then, that network of people that you're connected with will then, trickle down to their network, and you'll be able to get something, get something lined up through your network. But like Jeremiah said, sometimes it's hard to network, especially after being deployed. You don't know what's going on. You're, away for 6 months. You're, deployed for 2 years, and then, you're transitioning into the civilian life. And how do you network? How do you line up something when you're been accustomed to being in the military and transitioning to civilian life? That's also a good one. Tony said, what's up, Tony? It's a struggle, bro. Once you figure this out, let me know. And again, this is why I'm talking about it, because again, it's a topic that comes up very regularly. Like, how do I look for work being a road warrior? How do I figure out where the next dollar is going to come from when I have to be on the road all the time? And again, you might, hire on with the company while you're on the road, but they're still going to be on the road. That's their bread and butter, is being, out. And I know for a fact, being out on the road is where you make your money. So sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes it's a really big struggle, because you're like, okay, it's last day. Can we stretch it out? Can we, get this another, get it to the weekend? Can we get it to, to overtime and double time? And, coming from a worker background, before I got into safety, that played a big part. Okay, they say it's going to be a week shutdown. All right, well, we're going to stretch it out for, a week and 3 days. Get those 3 days extra pay, right? Sometimes it's it's going to be 2 weeks. So, okay, well, we're going to make it a third week. We're going to make it a whole another week. Something's going to go, something's going to happen. Something's going to, go down to where we're able to get a little bit more money. And again, it's a constant struggle. And people that are out there road warrioring right now, I commend you from, and not to mention the struggles that, the mental struggles that you go through, being away from the family, being able to, hug your loved ones. Shane, my man, sometimes you think you have everything worked out and get doped at the last minute. I had a series of 5 big companies I worked for. There were times where neither of the 5 had anything going on for long periods of time. I learned to switch industries from general to construction. Worst comes to worst, I knocked the dust off my tools. Hey, and see, Shane, you have a very unique story. I love that, the fact that you come from a millwright background, somebody that was working with their tools prior to getting into safety, so you have something to fall back on. And like you said, worst case scenario, worst comes to worst, you got to pick up your tool belt again. But that's not always a bad thing, right? That is not always a bad thing. And see to transition it into, a positive. Okay, I can't find anything on the safety side, but I know how to use my tools. Hey, let me see if there's any millwright work that I might be able to, go do and do, a couple turnarounds or a shutdown or two. Maybe I'll, figure out something there, and then that leads me into my next safety role. That's also a good thing. Jesus, you asked too many great questions that it requires some thought. I can't formulate a great answer yet. Hey, it's okay. Again, this is why we're here. This is your guys' platform. To ask questions, interact, and engage. And again, we are here to, help you, assist you, bring you value as much as we can. And I don't mean to ask that many questions. I just figure that's what people like, is when I ask questions and then you get comments coming in. My bad, Jesus. Shane, I love safety, but I'm not above going back to doing whatever it takes. Again, I totally agree. I just do my job that much safer and still get to impact those around me. Amen, brother. Amen. And again, before I got into safety, I was a worker going into confined space and working in the petrochemical plants, down in Houston, Texas. So again, I don't mind getting dirty again, getting all suited up, ready to go. Got my, breathing apparatus on, got my harness on, my Tyvek suit on. I'm ready to go. I'm going in there. I'm not scared to do that again. Do I want to? No, I love safety. I love interacting with people. I love keeping people safe and getting them to go home at the end of the day. But if worse comes to worse, hey, that's just something, we have to do. And not, and again, for those that are road warriors right out of college, they're kind of trying to find themselves. Again, some people fall into it and like it. Some people, they use it as a stepping stone to gain the experience. They become road warriors for a year or two, again, with that degree that they just got. And guess what? Boom. They're there. They're top performers. LinkedIn user, who are you? Let me know who you are. I don't like when it does this. I don't want to get dirty. I like being clean, bro. What I can say is that treating everyone with respect at every job is important. You never know when someone else finds a great job and pulls you in because you treated them well on the previous job. That right there, Jesus, perfect. Again, you thought about it, and that right there, it's the fact that you treat people with respect just like you want to be treated. So that way, hey, you know what? Let me call up Jesus. hey, I'm out of work right now, brother, but I know you're working for a great company. Do you think they have any positions available? And again, you use your network. It's thanks, Tony, my man. Okay, now I know who it is, Tony. So before you write anything, Tony, because again, it's coming up, LinkedIn user. Before you write anything, just put your name, Tony dash, and then give me what you're gonna give me. Um, again, back to Jesus, it's a mutual thing, because again, you never know when you're gonna have to call on one of your colleagues that you worked with, and maybe you treated that person like crap. Do you think you're gonna be able to reach out to them and say, hey, do you think you can find me some work? Do you think, are you booming right now? Can I come work with you? It doesn't work like that. So great comment there, Jesus. If I can't get a safety jump, I'll fall back on my underground cage fighting. Hey, nice. Got to give me the links to that. I need to see some of those. Let's see, Jeremiah. I just want to see something tangible at the end of the day, even if it's just stopping a person from doing something dumb. Amen, brother. Hey, and again, that right there, that little thing and it's not somebody doing, something wrong, something dumb, but it's the interaction, and the impact that you're making. Again, it's tangible because you see what's happening at the end of the day, them going home, them coming back. Okay, Tony, you're not the boss of me. I know I'm not the boss of you, but it just helps the flow of the show, man. It helps it out. I promise. I won't bark any more orders. Shane Oliver, working the steel mill is what led me to CSU and getting my degree. Probably wouldn't have ever went back to school. I mean, that right there, working inside the steel mill is what led you to get your degree and become, a safety professional. What you do before you get into your passion and your why, and we can take this conversation 3 ways from Sunday, but at the end of the day, if you are passionate about what you do, you love what you do, then you're gonna be successful. And again, when you start seeing that end of the road coming, on the horizon, you're 3 months out. Like Jesus said earlier, be proactive. Start reaching out to people. Start getting your resume out there for the next gig. If your company, now I'm saying not jump ship, because that also looks bad. Why are you jumping ship? Why are you changing so many different companies? Try to stick it out with one company. But again, you got to go where the money's at. I totally understand that you have to go where the money's at. And some people that are out there that are road warriors, you definitely see where they circle back. They might be with X company for 6 months on, 3 or 4 good turnarounds. And then they're over here with Y. And then by the time you know it, middle of the year of next year comes around, they're back over here with X. It's just, it's a circle. They go to where they know it's going to benefit them money-wise, monetarily. So it is one of those things that, it's inevitable. If you like being road warriors, you're going to go to one company. You're going to see another company that might be doing more. You get to know those individuals that you're working around. And then guess what? They offer you a position, or they say, hey, I like the way you work. I'm hiring. Could you come over here? Thanks, Tony. Tony, love this show, bro. Best safety show on the web. I greatly appreciate it. My man. Okay, I'm back. Everybody can hear me. Had a little hiccup there. For some reason, the internet here in the hotel decided to just shit the bed. Hey, it is what it is. It's part of the gig. Let's see where we leave off. Shane, man, I left the job with Alan and had a 1-inch binder full of certifications that weren't getting me anywhere. I had that moment where I couldn't justify spending any more time or money on school, that I wasn't seeing a payoff. I got scared, played the online profile game with the company after company. Most cases couldn't even talk to a human being. Hey, again, it and that right there, having your book of certifications, having, that sometimes companies don't even want to see that. They want to see, how low can we get X person? And if it's a general laborer, how low can we get a general labor? General laborers, nowadays are working. I know when I was a general laborer and actually going into the confined space before I got into safety, making $12, $13 an hour. And you were really putting your life at risk going into these confined space, working into these chemical plants where something could go wrong and you possibly couldn't be here the next day. But now there is more growth, I want to say, for the labor force. Not as much as we would like to see, but as far as what they're getting paid. Now, don't get me wrong. Some parts of the country, they're still trying to nickel and dime you and give you the bare minimum. They give you the bare minimum when it comes to wages, the bare minimum when it comes to your per diem. They put you in crap hotels. And again, I'm speaking from experience. So with that being said, being a road warrior, those that are out there that have been road warriors, do you stay at the hotel that is provided, or do you try to negotiate to where you give me the per diem, don't pay for my room, and I find my own room, whether it costs me a little bit more to get that comfort level? Let me know in the comments. LinkedIn user tuning in late, so I'll have to catch up, but love this. What lessons learned do we take to the next gig to make us shine brighter? Always growing. And again, LinkedIn user, let me know who you are. I was wondering where you went. Glad you're back, LOL. Yes, it crapped the bed. Shane, I went back to doing what I know, and for not very much money, it humbled me more than anything. And again, I commend you, Shane, for that very reason, that you were able to go be all that you could be and provide for your family. And like you said, it damn near nothing, but it humbled you to understand, the growth potential and you getting your education, getting into, the greatest profession of the world, safety. But it's when you're humbled like that and you feel like your back is against the wall and you have nowhere to turn, this is all I can do. But you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. You start seeing the brighter side, that it pays off. Granted, there is some struggle. There is some heartache, some blood, sweat, and tears, like we all know, that we have to put in. But at the end of the day, you are going to be successful by, again, like Shane said, humbled at what you have now, but being proactive on finding the next gig, treating people with respect, not stepping on anybody's toes or, clawing at people's necks to get your way to the top. because remember, on the way back down, you try to come back up, you're going to have to kiss a whole bunch of people's asses, and pardon my language, to, get back up that ladder. Monica Alvarez, good topic. Shane Oliver, union laborers make minimum 26 and have the best benefits package. Yes, I know. And that's another thing, union versus non-union. Union workers, they have a package deal. They pay dues. They have, a 3-year, 5-year apprenticeship program to journeyman. They're going to go on the next gig. And they, like you said, they're starting off minimum $26 an hour. Anything over 8 ends up being, time and a half. Sundays, usually double time. So it's, it's pretty good. I myself have not had the pleasure of working in a union. I've worked with union professionals. I've worked with union employees, but myself, I've never been part of a union. It's Tiffany. Not sure why it's not showing. LinkedIn throwing shade. My bad, Tiff. Again, Shane. Comfort of having my own room means comfort of having family visits once in a while. That is correct. And again, I can attest, and I speak from experience. I hated, and I don't use that word very lightly or often, but I do not like sharing rooms. Because again, you don't know who they're going to, pair you up with, the person is. And again, we're in COVID, we're in COVID right now. So everybody should be getting their own rooms. Nobody should be sharing rooms because again, you don't know what somebody could possibly have, contract. And again, it's part of that road warrior stuff, being in the pipeline, in the oil field, in construction. Sometimes companies, again, back to the nickel and diamond. And I don't like it because again, they're away from their families. They're putting in 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, and you want them to go stay at a Motel 6? Like, come on. Again, and again, I personally do not like staying at a Motel 6. Some people say, hey, that's cheap. It's what I can afford. I totally understand. But if you're able to provide, and I'm talking to you employers, you that are employing these laborers, employing your greatest assets, look out for their well-being. And as far as upgrading their room to something that might have a bigger microwave, a bigger refrigerator, something that isn't a Roach Motel, the cheapest damn hotel you can find, because you can get a good deal. Become a rewards member, get diamond status, get company corporate rates. There's all types of things that you're able to do to provide for your people. Dang, y'all typing way too damn fast for me. Hold on. Let's see. Safety Sam. Just saying, what's up, everyone? What's going on, Sam? Jesus said, I started in safety for $12 an hour. I did it for the experience. Hey, brother. Again, you got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And that's, what, some of the safety professionals that I'm working with on the job site I'm at now, use it as, again, he is a great dude. He's learning a lot. I'm trying to give him all the gems and jewels and teach him the right way, so that way he can go off to the next job and do the same thing for somebody else. But again, like you said, you're doing it for the experience. And I told him, do it for the experience. The experience that you're having here, right now, is going to benefit you, not right here, right now, but on the next job. And then the one after that, because you'll get more experience when you're out there. Shane said, yes, Jesus, the money will come with time, build up the experience. And not only build up the experience, but then you build up those relationships through your experience. Being on the job site for a year and getting to know all of your workers, getting to know all of the, management, the supervisors that are coming out and coming in from each trade, knowing everybody by name. That plays a big part. A lot of times you go to these big turnarounds, they're so quick, 2 weeks, you don't get to meet everybody in 2 weeks. You might interact with them. You might see people inside the lunch tent, inside there for the safety meeting and, for turnover, but that's about it. As soon as the shift's over, your 12 hours is done, your wheels are burning, skating to the hotel, trying to beat your roommate there so that way you can take a shower first, and again, that's why I don't like sharing hotel rooms. Did it for a long time. Sometimes you have to take a hit, you get humbled, and you learn to be grateful. Amen. Shane, you're so funny. That phrase, though. The stories I could tell you about hotel incidents would hairlift the Pope. Man, oh man. Yeah, hey, we all have our stories. We all have our, our stuff that goes on that we've been through, our experiences. But guess what? We're here talking to each other, having a good time, giving value to, those newer professionals or those road warriors that, are out there. And again, I commend you, road warriors, because again, talking to the family aspect, if you have a family, you have little ones, it's hard. It's hard. Seeing your kids for, a weekend, out of a month, it's not cool. It's not fun. It hurts sometimes because you miss a lot of birthdays. You miss a lot of, good stuff, kids shows, sporting events that the kids are in. You have those obligations that you can't be a part of. And, and I am lucky enough that my wife has been able to hold down the home front and take care of the kids. And, she has a more important job than I ever will. She's raised our babies, 4 beautiful girls. So, baby, if you're watching, I love you. Your significant other, your wife to be, your girlfriend or whatnot, your boyfriend, again, if they're there holding down the home front, if they're there supporting you while you're on the road, they're there when you get back, hold on to that person. Didn't mean to get all sentimental on you guys, but again, it hits home for me. Again, being in a hotel room right now, being able to talk to y'all, but being away from the family, it's one of those things. People don't even like sharing a bathroom with their siblings, let alone a coworker. Yeah. Tell me about it. Working nights, day shift roommate got the jump out, boys, pay a visit and clean the whole room out. Yep. All from chasing girls. Hey. That and again, usually when I've shared a room, it's been day shift, night shift. There's been a couple of times where they put 2 people on the day shift in the same room, and that's awkward. But again, like you said, jump out boys come out, pay a visit. You're there. Yeah. It's not good. Not good. Some companies don't give the option of picking your roommate. You get who you get. That is true. And I've had that experience, and it really, really sucks because you think you're going to get somebody that, you're cool with, that, it is somewhat clean. Just by their, appearance and how they present themselves. But then sometimes you get the nastiest person, the person that is just nasty. And again, I'm not, we're all working and I say men, but women too. We're all working. We're all out there busting our ass, sweating. But again, let me pick my roommate. Don't just say, hey, you're going to, room with this guy. Let me pick my roommate. But again, that's where I'm a firm believer of companies should be, giving the option. Okay, we can pay for your room and it's going to be at X motel. And again, companies need to realize that X motel doesn't have to be the Motel 6. Doesn't have to be the, motel next to the truck stop where there's going to be a lot of crap going on. It could be something a little bit better, like a La Quinta, a Quality Inn, a Holiday Inn, where you can get some corporate rates. You just got to go and negotiate that. Giving them that option, giving them a little bit more peace of mind while they're, at work, making you money, working those 12, 14-hour days to be able to come to a comfortable bed, to be able to have a place to heat up their food. Just saying. Got you rolling. That's Tiffany. No, but it's true. And again, I speak from experience. It's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you work in this type of environment. So again, it's definitely something that needed to be brought up and kind of talked about, because again, what are you doing to help yourself? What are you doing to help the person that's coming after you? Because again, the person before you kind of paved the way, they left something there. But what are you doing to help yourself now? What are you doing to help the person coming after you? LOL, worked in Hawaii one year. I turned on documentary stuff. Every time I turn around, the roommate turns his dog to bounty hunter. I finally yelled at him to go outside. He could probably see it live. That's funny. Man, Shane, that's crazy. That brings up another good point. What about your expat that are working not out of state, not out of, city, outside of the country? What about those people that, that are expats that, go work in China, in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, in Australia, the UK? Again, that's a whole nother, again, we have different time zones. You're halfway across the world, when you're going to bed, your kids are getting up here, or vice versa. Your kids are going to bed and you're getting up, and how do you make that work? Being a road warrior. I always told my wife that, if we ever get any job offers over in the UK or outside of the country, again, that's where that expat package comes into play, and the money has to be right. The money has to be right for us to, pick up and move to a completely different country. But again, I'm not against it. I would move the family to the UK. One of my daughters wants to go to Dubai. Another one wants to go to France. Anybody that knows anybody that's looking for some EHS over there in France or in Dubai, in the UK somewhere, let me know. We can make it happen. 10 hours difference from Hawaii to Texas. Yes, that's a big difference. So you think about that 10-hour difference. I'm going to bed here in Texas at 9, 10 o'clock. 10 hours. That makes a big difference. The UK is beautiful. Yes, it is. The UK is. Shane, I had somebody in my OSHA 500 class that was he was actually working outside of the country. He had to come back in to get some training, and obviously the 500, but he ended up going back to China, working out there, and he lived out there. They just had him, and I guess the company was from the States, but he lived there permanently. So he had to come back to get some training, and I thought that was pretty cool. But again, that's the road warrior in him. That's the road warrior in us, that have been road warriors. And most people think road warriors as pipeline, but there's petrochemical, there's construction, there's wind and energy, and you have your pipeline, your oil field. So, again, road warriors, I really, really commend you. I greatly appreciate the sacrifice that you go through every day to provide for your family. Again, it's one of those, it's one of those jobs to be on the road constantly that you are going to work so hard to make a good impression, so that way you can move up and still be a road warrior, but then eventually having a truck, having your own crew, running jobs, actually being the supervisor, and I wouldn't say telling people what to do, but kind of delegating. And again, you put your time in. Those that are out there that are road warriors now that are just starting out, again, don't lose sight of, your end goal or your why. And don't give up. There's lots to learn out there. There's lots of skilled trades that need to be learned, especially now in the day and age that we're in. There's fewer and fewer skilled tradesmen that are sticking around because they're getting burnt out. They're a dime a dozen and they're getting burnt out, and we need to. Companies need to invest in your people and not have them burnt out. Put them on a rotation, put them on a schedule to where they're able to go see their families. They're able to bring their families to, and again, this is why people should not share hotel rooms. Yes, I know you're worried about the bottom line. I understand it. The business side, I totally get it. But when you have that peace of mind, and just think about it, put yourself in their shoes. If you can put yourself in your lowest guy's shoes, you being a CEO, you being a VP, being a general manager, and saying, would I want to share a room if I brought my family down? Just think about that for a minute. Think about that. If I was, Mike, that just got hired on, has 2 kids and a wife that's pregnant, would I want to share a room? No, you wouldn't. And again, that's where you have to bridge that gap. And yes, I understand. A lot of us understand the fact that the business side of things, you're trying to cut dollars. You're trying to make sure that you save as much as possible. Well, you're going to do that by investing up front in your personnel that give you the greatest return on investment, because they're going to be more productive. Their morale is going to be better at work. They are going to, get that production. The schedule that you have that's 2 weeks, they have their own room. They get a good night's sleep. They get to do and have family there. Guess what? That schedule now is not going to be 2 weeks. You can get what you need to get done in 2 weeks in a week and a half. That saves you money. Think about that for a little bit. Just put that little seed. I'm going to just plant that seed right there. Stratford upon Avon, best city ever. Yep. Jesus, preach. Pamela, absolutely. Thank you, Pamela. Good to see you. She gave me a lot of claps there. Claps. Hold on. Let me see if I got the... there it is. So, and again, it's, I see both sides. I know both sides. I've had the pleasure of being on both sides, on actually working and being in those, pardon my language, crap shit motels but I've also been on the corporate side or the C-suite side to understand the business portion of it, to understand the metrics that go into, well, we're not going to spend a whole bunch in Q4 because we're getting ready to ramp up for Q1. We got to have our budgets in for next year by the end of Q3 to make sure everything aligns. And again, Road Warriors, you guys keep doing and keep grinding, keep pushing and fighting that good fight. There are people out there that are batting for you, that are rooting for you. And we greatly appreciate, again, like I said, the sacrifice, and it does not go unnoticed. Again, if somebody wants to call up, y'all know the number, but I'll go ahead and put it up there just in case. Anybody wants to call in, phone lines are open. Shane, whole bunch of dying trades out there too. Boiler operators, station engineers, almost extinct. Boilers are much easier to deal with now. No coal fire or burners being built. Yep, but the guys running them are old as dirt and nobody to pass the knowledge down to. Yes, I agree. There's lots of dying trades, and like you said, those boiler makers, the boilers and the stationary engineers. It definitely goes a long way. Everyone you see a stack, there's a boiler under it, and a guy in the basement that nobody even knows the name. Hello, my love. Let's hear a round of applause for all the moms who hold it down while the Road Warriors are away. Yes, yes, yes. And again, all you Road Warriors that have wives at home, that have kids at home, applaud them as well. Thank you for that, love. Again, keeping me grounded. Love that woman. Shane, Pamela says, wow, that's really sad. Yeah, it is. And it's crazy, working in the refineries and being around those, what we used to call widow makers, big hydrocrackers that, you would have to go in and we would, take catalyst out, and with the big vac truck, and it's 3, 4, 5 beds of catalyst, and, they call them widow makers because a lot of times you're vacuuming and that stuff is just up the wall. And if that comes down on you, you're done for. A lot of times the older trades and stuff that, that was being done without safety in mind, without anybody looking out for the worker's best interests. It was all production, get it done, get it done, get it done. It is very sad, but now we have, safety involved. We have, people like Jesus and Shane that are out there that are looking out for the well-being on a day-to-day. People like Tiffany that, get to work side by side with the safety professional and make sure the onboarding process is good, making sure that anybody that's going to be out in the road and being a road warrior, guess what? Lay down the expectations, and then just constant engagement, getting them. Because again, when they feel like they're part of the family and part of the team, they understand and adhere to what you're trying to instill in them, which are just good practices, a good mindset, a good culture, those types of things. So, and yes, I do not like when it gets sad. It's not fun. It's not one of those things that you ever wish to happen, and it happens far too often. In all fields, construction, general industry, wind and air, agriculture, maritime. It happens all over the place and all over the world. So it definitely, we can do more. The more we can do, the more impact we can have on people, the better off it'll be. Thanks for the shout out. So happy for the awesome family. Shane Oliver, Lyman, another group. Yep. Who's going to put your power lines back up after a bad storm? Nobody, because those guys are getting old and too tired to climb. Linemen are starting to make a comeback, but boiler operators have a harder state test to pass. Yes, they do. And just that's another one that whenever devastation happens around the world, whether it be a bad ice storm, whether it be a bad hurricane that knocks down power for millions at weeks at a time, those linemen are our best friends because we are relying on them to get our power lines back up and running. So, way to bring that up, Shane. I greatly appreciate that, brother. Again, those road warriors, you might see them at the grocery store. They might be all dirty, all filthy. You might see them in line at McDonald's, again, hungry. They just got off a 16-hour shift. Thank them and again, it's not, you don't have to go and spark up a conversation with them. Just, hey, thank you. Somehow, some way, they're contributing to what goes on in everybody else's day to day, whether it be in the oil field, whether it be in construction and new buildings, But think about, they might have a family back at home that they're not away, that they're away from, so. Sorry, my comment cut off after saying the awesome family. I deleted it live, but glad you have the awesome family to ground you, so you keep everyone safe. Yes, I do. My wife, my daughters, especially being, my oldest, keeps me really, really grounded. She's 15, and having all girls, that right there in itself just keeps me grounded. But that's a whole nother topic. And eventually I'm going to have them on one of these live streams. I know my little one has been wanting to get on live with me. So maybe we'll make that happen soon. Family edition. So with that being said, again, it's 8:22. Been going strong for 53 minutes. I hope everybody gained a little bit of value out of this. I love interacting and talking with everybody that's in the chat. And again, those road warriors, we greatly appreciate what you're doing, the sacrifice that you make. It does not go unnoticed. We are here. If you need to talk, if you ever feel like you're getting burnt out, call somebody, reach out. I'm always here. You can call the hotline anytime. Reach me in the DMs anywhere. Safety, the X factor is safety. Except for on Twitter. Twitter's safety X_factor. But again, if you know somebody that's a road warrior that, might be getting burnt out, reach out to them and lift them up, say that it's going to be okay. And again, a lot of people are really holding and trying to hold on to what they have right now because they don't know what's in the near future, what's going to happen. So again, being able to uplift the people around you, being able to make a positive impact, it goes a long way. And it doesn't go unnoticed when you do certain things like that. It comes back to you tenfold. So with that being said, I greatly appreciate everybody. Remember to ask yourself that one question. What's your X factor? Till next time, we'll see you later.